Well, Dave, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and you know what? I'm really excited about this segment. We've done this in the past on the Florida show, and you know, it's a very...
Might even have done it on this one before.
It's a very educational... No, but it's really important. You know, so many fish are lost at those boat side.
It's the most important part, and like I said a minute ago, it's the fun. It's the most fun part of doing the whole thing, in my opinion. But you know, for once, I'm gonna try to go through 10 things real quick. One is you always want to wear a pair of gloves. Doesn't matter if you're using what kind of mono or wire, you need to have a pair of gloves, and you needs to be kind of matched to the type of leader that you're using. A pair of snot gloves, you can probably go up to about 150-pound leader. These kind of gloves here are a little waterman gloves kind of thing. You probably maybe go up to 200-pound. But if you're going to go over 200-pound, you're going to need some really good heavy-duty wireman's gloves that you can break 200-pound with, you know, by sitting down if you have to. But always wear gloves all the time. Don't try to do it without it, because you'll cut your hand. If you cut your hand, then we got to go home. You know, I don't want to go home. A gaff, the gap in your gaff, when you're trying to choose a gaff for a fish, you want to try to match the gaff's gap to the size of the fish. You know, you can get away with lashing like a number 10 hook to a nice piece of bamboo, and you can use that as a long pole gaff for most fish up to about 25, 30 pounds. But once you start going over that, you're going to need a good bite, you know, a good 3-inch bite, and something with a little is more substantial that you can lift a heavier fish with. So, you know, keep that in mind. And if you're going after marlin, you know, the best thing to do is to use a big flying gaff, a gaff with a detachable head that has a rope on it that you can secure to your fighting chair. If you don't have a fighting chair, don't gaff a blue marlin. That's my thing. So anyway.
Okay.
I think it's funny because I know if you shouldn't be gaffing a fish without a chair, because anyway, try to hit the
says the blue marlin guy who never had to gaff anything with a straight gaff.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
fly fishing.
You always have it. Try to hit the fish in the head, no matter what kind of fish you've got, a dolphin or a wahoo or whatever you're gaffing that you plan on keeping. Gaff them in the head. It kills them real fast usually. It stuns them so that they're not flopping around on the gaff a lot. Not only that, you've got the teeth going the right way. You got the teeth pointed towards the sky. So once you get them up in the boat and you got the teeth pointed toward the sky, they can go right into the box. If you gaff the fish near the tail, his teeth are pointing down and he can wiggle really hard. And if he comes off that gaff and those teeth are pointing to your feet, those teeth can do terrible damage to your feet or your lower legs. So always hit them in the head. Don't be a lumberjack. You know, if you have a decent sharp gaff, you don't have to swing a gaff. All you got to do is get it out over his head and just a gentle pull.
Exactly.
You know?
You just
put
put
a
it
gentle
beyond
pull.
him and put it beyond him and get just on the other side. Put it behind like this.
Right.
And then boom.
Right, and that gap thing I was talking about, that can happen if you're trying to gaff a kingfish or a slender-bodied fish like a wahoo, and you have too big of a gap. You can actually go all the way around the fish and never even hit him, lift him up out of the water, and then he falls off. So that's another reason why you want that gap. When you're gaffing a dolphin fish, keep the dolphin's head in the water when you got him on the leader, because when you're trying to gaff that fish and the wireman lifts the dolphin's head out of the water, he's gonna want to jump. Same way with a billfish. We want to try to keep him calm and steady. Now for a tuna fish, it's just the opposite. We want to get to the point where we can lift his head out of the water, because if we can lift his head out of the water, he's gonna die quick. If he gets his head down, he can really power out of the gaff shot.
That's a fish there. It's really important to have a big gap.
Correct. Because he's a round, big round-bodied fish. Always, you know, gaff. Try to get the fish on one side of the boat or the other. We don't want to be backing straight down on the fish and try to get a gaff shot, because you've got a narrow target at his back and you're trying to come in from the side. So even if you do get a good shot, he may come off again when he powers again. We want him to be
from the side.
Yeah, we want him to be on a corner, one corner or the other, moving with the boat, you know, and that's how we want him. If you're using a wind-on, your wind-ons really help, because you can actually use one hand to just feed the feed the man who's on the rod and reel, and use your other hand to gaff the fish. And you can just slide the gaff straight down the top of that leader until it gets right close to his eyeballs, and then just pull up and then let go of the leader and go right into the box in one smooth motion.
Always bring the gaff under the leader.
Well, correct.
Right.
Well.
All right, go Brie before he decides to talk again.